All right, welcome, guys. We're here today for the Crypto Chemistry podcast. I'm Crypto Chem, and I'm joined by my co-host Greg. And we're also joined by our guest today, Leon of OneNet. He's leading the game development of Bushi, a Web3 NFT game launching on the Secret Network. So before we get into it, if you just want to kind of introduce yourself, kind of give us your background, and how did you get into game development?
Sure. So I'm Leon. I am currently part of the team over at OneNet and PlayBushi, or so OneNet building PlayBushi. Um, and I guess for me as a background, I started off in the Secret Network. My background is in design. Well, technically, my traditional background is like criminal justice. And then I switched over to kind of like a graphic design, moved over to product design, like UX and UI.
Mhm.
Um, and then I landed a position over at Secret Nodes, the Secret Nodes Explorer. Um, and then that kind of started off my like crypto like tunnel and like rabbit hole. And then from then on, I just started doing like crypto related everything pretty much. So
Yeah. And
from
I
that.
guess for people who don't know, you've worked on quite a few things in the Secret Network, correct? I think you were involved in the Secret DAO
Yeah,
early.
yeah. So I am the designer for the Secret Nodes version 2.5 and then also version 3. And then I'm also the original designer for Secret DAO. And then along with the team over at Secret LLC, which builds both of those. And then I'm also like kind of heavily, well, at Secret Nodes, that's when I was kind of heavily involved with like the governance portion of Secret Network, heavily involved in like just Secret Network initiatives, you could kind of say, and then I just kind of carried it over to the new project that we're building on now. Mhm.
Right. And so your new project that you're building now, we talked about it. It's called Bushi. It's NFT gaming. I guess an NFT game. So if you kind of want to just, high level kind of describe what your vision is for Bushi, what it is and why you decide to build it on the blockchain.
Right. Okay. So we're building like it's like a two-part project, right? So we're building a game distribution platform, very much like Steam, called OneNet, and then we're building Bushi as our like flagship title. And I could explain a little bit on why like we decided to do two projects at one time. It's kind of crazy, like two projects at one time. But a little high overview of Bushi in general. So it is a third-person competitive shooter, and it's being built in Unreal Engine 5, ported over from Unreal Engine 4. So it's going to be a mainly desktop PC video game. It has controller support already, so anybody who like does the Xbox or the PS4, you can't play it on those consoles, but you can use your controller. So it's that kind of video game. It's kind of geared towards esports, so we're tackling the whole esports industry and creating like competitive tournaments, hopefully like competitive streams, and kind of just merging the traditional esports market over to Web3 and Bushi as a whole. Um, and so that's kind of like the overview of it. It does have NFTs in the sense that it has NFTs in the sense that you could purchase or mint an NFT for certain things within the game, like a skin or a character model or anything like that. It is a play and earn model, so it's not a play to earn model. And I have my whole entire like list of differences for play to earn versus play and earn. But it's a play and earn model, so anytime that you play the game, you're just earning on the side, whatever it may be. It could be just points in the game, um, tokens, other NFTs. It really just depends on what it is that you're going for. Um, and then that is pretty much Bushi as a whole. And then OneNet, sorry to ramble on, but OneNet is the platform in which Bushi will be distributed. So I kind of make a kind of a general comparison with Steam. If everybody here is familiar with Steam, the game distribution platform where you can kind of just manage all your video games, download your video games, launch your video games, and play the games through Steam. And that is what OneNet is going to be, or what they are going to be in terms of being kind of like a hub for all the video games that you need in Web3. So we're starting off in like the secret network, and then we're going to be branching out towards the other IBC partners and pretty much the Cosmos as a whole. And yeah, that's pretty much the overview of both projects.
And I wanted to kind of circle back to something you said earlier, because I think it's important, and it has to do with where you talked about like the play to earn versus play and earn.
Yeah.
Another aspect of that I think is interesting is a lot of people have this, or a lot of games are set up where you can actually pay to win. Basically, you can purchase certain items that increase your damage, what have you, health, whatever, your buffs. But from talking to you kind of offline, that's not really your plan. You see these more as like an aesthetic addition to your character, right? You can't really buy your way into having the best character.
Yeah, so Bushi as a whole is a very competitive video game, right? So any advantages that people want to purchase is not going to be there. So if you're looking to spend some money on it and be like the #1 player, it's not going to happen. You're going to have to put some time and effort into getting better in the game. Anything that's like NFT related or purchasing, like anything that involves purchasing, that's going to be just mainly cosmetic, and something that a person can kind of collect and have true ownership over it, just like how everyone wants to do the whole NFT and video games thing. You purchase your NFT, it relates to something in the game, so it could be like a skin for the entire model, it could be a completely different model, it could be like a different weapon or something like that, and it's yours, it lives on the chain, and then you can kind of just send it however you want. Some collections will have like a maximum supply, some will just be like for a limited time mint. So you kind of get to be able to like collect what you can during that time.
Okay, which I appreciate personally, because I despise games where people can basically purchase attributes or purchase ways to improve their gameplay. Such as someone who grew up, trying to hone their skills and like really be the best at certain games just based on putting time in and learning all the meta that's going on.
Sorry to cut you off, but it does. I remember the second portion of the question, but that directly ties in with the whole play and earn model, right? Mm-hmm. So I could go on for days about play and earn and play to earn, but ours is a play and earn model, meaning that I don't want to get into the differences, but the biggest difference is that you play the game to play the game. Anything monetary, anything reward based is just like cherry on top. It's like icing on the cake,
Well, I think it is a difference that you need to kind of make clear to people.
Yeah.
You can just say play to earn versus play and earn. You're like, oh, you're just saying something different. But when you actually describe it, like how you're saying that.
When you look at the word play to earn, you're literally just playing the video game just to earn something in some cases.
At that point.
Yeah. Basically. So yeah, a lot of people don't even care about what the video game is or the quality of the video game. It's just more to earn, which is, it has its merits in its own right. But ours is play and earn, meaning the video game is our focal point. That's the focus that we have, and the focus to like bring in hopefully like what people could consider a AAA title game, something that can compete in the traditional market, stuff like that. And then earning, if you put in the time and effort and you really get to learn the system, you'll earn. But the game will be fun first and foremost.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing, is having the fun game, and then on the side, it's like, oh, hey, I earned this new cosmetic, earned some coins I can spend on something, but it's not like I'm out there doing this game to earn that thing to make money or whatever.
Yeah, I'm not grinding to pay my bills.
Exactly.
Yeah, pretty much. One of the biggest things that we wanted to do with the play and earn model is like You know, as of right now, with the people who spend hours and hours on video games, there's really only two ways to make money off of video games or to make it a career. And that's either being like a content creator or you're going to be a professional player, right? But we want to be able to reward just casual players who really love the game but don't want to compete or be a content creator. They can just play the game, and if they put the time and effort into being good or into just knowing about the game or being part of the community and stuff like that, then you can earn and I wouldn't say make a career out of it, because again, making money isn't the focus of the game, but they can at least get some incentive from just playing the video game, because time is something that people should value. There's not like a price point to your time, but there is some kind of price to your time. You could kind of say.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
There's always an opportunity cost. You could always be doing something else, and if a game's not fun and the people are just playing to earn money, at some point it turns into, why am I doing this anymore? And
I definitely hate. Well, I don't want to say hate because it's such a strong word, but there are games out there, and again, they have their merit in their own right, where you play the game to get money out of it. That's just not what we're doing. So
cool. So how long have you guys been working on Bushi?
So Bushi has been in development. Man, it's been about 1.5 or 2 years now, just in the background. Yeah.
Wow.
So we have done a lot of building in the background and have put in like a good amount of time into making the video game. It takes, for anybody who doesn't know, it takes a long time to make a video game, especially one that is like to the scale that we want to bring Bushi to. But 1.5 and 2 years of just pretty much straight development, getting everything in order, making it ready to play. And now at this point, it's ready to play. It's pretty much ready to play. We've had some testers already just fully having the gameplay mechanics down, ready to go. And now what's left to do is just to get everyone to understand what it is, to see it in person, and just get awareness, I guess you could say, market it, you can say. Yeah. So hard work is done. Hard work is done. Harder work starts now, because getting people to see it is super hard.
I guess going to that point, are you looking to do any sort of like a demo or game play release where people can kind of get their hands on it and give you some feedback?
Yeah, so we're doing a gameplay release coming up here. Actually, we just got a little bit of a snippet from our development team to show a little bit of the trailer that we've been creating, and it's, well, to me, obviously, I think it looks good, or else I would have something to say about it. But I'm just super excited to show the gameplay. It should be coming out. What day is it? The 15th today on August, or no? It's
Be careful
July.
about committing to a date.
I know. It should be coming out before our NFT release. So before NFT release in August, I'm even almost willing to say that it's going to come like before July ends. But I saw the snippet of it. It's pretty much ready. I don't really have any huge edits or asks from them. So
no, that's really that's awesome to hear. And I mean, I think that's one just little question I had, was if there was, I wanted to see some gameplay before committing to an NFT, for instance. You want to kind of see what you're committing to. I know, and I see you understand that, and that's good that we're going to see some gameplay and some other stuff before anything else comes out.
Yeah.
I love your guys' approach, because it is pretty rare. Like, a lot of times it goes exactly the opposite of what you just described, Greg. Normally they have this NFT that's supposed to bootstrap their funding to start the development. And we've talked about this. So we have a daily podcast, or semi-daily, three times a week, I'd say. And we talked about NFT gaming quite a bit. And one thing we constantly mention is, guys, game development takes years, not months, not days, whatever. It's years. So for these projects to say, hey, we're going to build a metaverse and a game and all this, and they're going to launch this NFT, it's frustrating from people who understand what that takes, because you're promising something 3-4 years out, or something that might not even be able to exist. So it's like, to hear you guys built the game, got it to a point where it's almost playable before you even announced it, and now you're actually potentially planning on launching the NFT after it comes out to help bootstrap, future endeavors or marketing, whatever. To me, that's an amazing approach because you're allowing people to try the game, decide if they like it, and then they can support the project through NFTs or what have you. And I think that is a great way to do it. And I'm super impressed that you guys kind of went that way.
Yeah, it's definitely not the most like common thing that you see right now in Web3, where people just kind of do it in the background. Everybody wants to catch the wave, it sounds like, right? So you want to announce your project, you want to get it out, you want to be like, hey, come support us. We're going to be this and this and this in the future, right? To me, it's so hard for me to say that to people and feel confident about it, So I don't want to tell people like, hey, I promise to do this to you. And I've said this before in like other AMAs and stuff, and it sounds a little cliche, but like, it is so much easier to market a product, a working product, rather than a promise, right?
Yeah.
So I don't want to go out there and promise people like, hey, if you buy this NFT or if you like come and follow me or something like that, then you're gonna, I swear later on, you're gonna get it back. You're gonna get something back. Things happen like on the daily. So like if I'm gonna promise something a year from now, how do I know that it's not gonna be like changed over that year span?
Or maybe you find out halfway through it's not feasible, or you no longer want to build it, and now you're kind of stuck because you've already funded it through all these people's NFT sales, and you feel this obligation. I completely understand where you don't want to back yourself into that corner.
Yeah, so for me it was like, make the product first, put your head down, really develop it, get it through the entire process, and then you can start making, like, that's why for me, it's easier for me to commit to a date. It's easier for me to commit to like, oh yeah, it's coming out in July. Oh yeah, it's coming out in December. Like, for example, right now I'll say it's coming out in December. The game will be out in December, and the reason why I know that is because it's done. So it's so easy for me to be able to like promise that to people because it's done. It's there.
Right.
It's just really up to us to like decide when it comes out. So
right, you have a true line of sight into the finish line where most projects don't even know where they are in the process.
Yeah. No offense to any project out there. Just saying, I've been into some fundraisers too. That like is a fundraiser to build a project. So I've been there too. I understand the entire process. For us, it wasn't like that. So
I guess kind of speaking to that, where are your main funds coming from then? If you're not going to be doing a raise by NFT.
Yeah, so our main fund, so the actual bulk of the actual development came out of our team's pocket. So our team is relatively big and well, you could say big for like a startup team, I guess. We have like a core of 8 and then a couple of different hires as well. But most of that development fund came from our own pockets. And then when it was almost time to go, just recently specifically, when we were like looking for just a little bit of like an extra boost to really get the game out and to get it to the place where we want it to be, we applied for a grant over at Secret Network, and then Secret Labs went through the whole process with us and was able to give us at least a $75,000 grant to just get it through the finish line. And so that's where the rest of it's coming from. And then I guess this is kind of like counterintuitive because I talked about it before, but we're doing an NFT fundraiser for our Genesis collection just to get it a little bit higher quality than what we would like it to be, or than what it is right now. Not saying that, our work isn't high quality. It's just, we want to set a benchmark that we can get over, but we want to set that benchmark pretty high. So that's where most of like the NFT fundraiser, all that money will probably just go into just heavier development up until December, and then a full release in hopefully next year of April.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, like, to me, that makes a lot of sense, right? Like, you're allowed to fundraise through an NFT, especially once you've proven the concept. To me, that the fact that you can prove the concept is enough for me to now say, okay, this is a game that's actually almost ready to go. Now I'm willing to bootstrap that final to get them across the finish line, because you can really see that it's right there. You're not 2 years out of a maybe plan. But I also wanted to quickly just go through, like, if you could, just high level, your team's background, because game development's not an easy thing to do, right? And it's very tough to find experienced developers. And from talking to you, it sounds like you guys got a really strong team.
Yeah. So I'll give a background on like how we all met in general, because it's cool. Like, we're all friends. We're all very close friends, or at least the 8 core team is really good friends from high school. So we went to high school at a technical academy over here in, I don't guess I'm going to dox myself, but I'm already doxed anyway. So over here in Vegas, we went to a technical academy, and there was a video game, I guess, major, you could say, in high school, right? Which is kind of weird. Like, normally there's no majors in high school, but in ours there was, and there was video game development. And a majority of us was in video game development, and we just carried that all the way through college and through like the majority of our adult lives. And then somewhere down the road, we all connected to make a video game. So, and then throughout that entire time, a good majority of us was able to have, like, the traditional career experience. So some notable like studios that some of us have worked at is like Blizzard and EA, and then even some of us have worked at like other Web3 companies, which I don't want to mention. I think it's part of their NDA, so I won't say that. But yeah, Blizzard and EA was like one of the bigger ones. Like, when we found out they were from there, we were pretty excited. So, or like, they got that job initially. Yeah. So that's like our team's backgrounds. We have a total of like three game devs, then a front end dev as well. That's not really in the game side. And then we have 3 artists, all from different like specializations. And then you have me, who I would say is like, who's like probably the least technical out of everybody. But yeah, I just come from like the Web3 side, so I kind of bring my expertise from the Web3, and kind of like, we all mesh pretty well together as a game dev team and a Web3 team. So yeah, that's pretty much our backgrounds. It's cool. We're all friends.
Yeah, I mean, that is, we have a very similar setup with our group. It's a bunch of friends from high school who've kind of come together, created this crypto chemistry thing, and it's kind of expanded on its own, and it's been really fun. It's cool working with your friends, especially when you're doing something you're all interested in.
Yeah,
yeah,
super cool. I feel like the best work comes from working with the people you like. So
definitely.
Yeah.
So I had to ask, because obviously I come from the Secret Network. You clearly come from the Secret Network. Why build on Secret first off? And I think one thing a lot of people may not understand is that without some sort of privacy to a game, it kind of limits what you can even make in a game.
Yeah. So there are a bunch of reasons to build on Secret, and I'm not gonna like sit here and just like shill Secret to death, but
feel free.
Okay, I will actually. I'll take you up on that offer. So it was a lot of me convincing the rest of them, because a lot of them comes from the traditional market, right? So if people don't understand, the traditional market has a very negative stigma over blockchain, and that's mainly due to just misconceptions, Bitcoin being so popular, stuff like that. So there was a lot of convincing on my end, and the reason why I was so convinced with Secret Network is because I was heavily involved within the community. So I knew who was around, I knew who was building, how many things were being built, how serious people took it. And that was like one of the main things for me, is that Secret isn't just a blockchain that offers like just another layer 1 that has like no other additional benefits to the blockchain like future or like trajectory. They offer something very unique in the terms of privacy, and as we all know, with like these huge scandals, like I don't even know if I'm allowed to say it, I'm gonna get like attacked by people, but like the Facebook data leaks, all the other like data selling stuff like that, even with like Alexa being like, all knowing of exactly what it is that you want to buy from Amazon and stuff like that is super intrusive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the privacy stuff just made more sense to me the more and more I saw the privacy intrusion in my daily life.
Mm-hmm.
So it just made sense to be in a network where your data is as private as you would like it to be. So there's that whole, like, I guess, two-part thing where I love the community and the people building it, and I have faith in the longevity of Secret Network, and then also the privacy like nuance that it offers, where computational privacy is a thing, transactional privacy is a thing. So they put importance on that, even if in my daily life I don't think about it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
At Secret Network, it's like done for me. So everything that I want to be private, well, depending on the dApps that I use, will be private. So there's that portion. Sorry, I'm like mumbling so much about Secret Network, but
No, this is good. I mean, a lot of these things people don't really know, and that's something that we're trying to help with, is educating people on, like, hey, why choose Secret Network over all these other chains?
Yeah.
And if you don't understand the kind of trade-offs of privacy and scalability and speed and everything, then you might just be like, well, why wouldn't I use this one? It makes more sense. It's faster, or it scales better. But you're giving up other things, and that's something we want people to know. So anything you want to explain to make people understand why you chose Secret specifically, that is exactly what we're here to do.
There's sorry, I don't mean to keep rambling, so please cut me off if you need to, but there's a very, very big dilemma or problem that we see in the traditional market, at least from my team, that we really want to just tackle and just change for the future, forever, for good. And that is the fact that there are younger people obviously playing video games more and more and more. Like, it seems like you have your 8-year-old super good player, has an account, has mom's credit card, has her email, password, all these things, right? That could be with a bad actor from another place, just breached or compromised and stuff like that, just because you're 8 years old, or you're 10 years old, you're 14 years old. You don't know what you're clicking on the internet or on a video game specifically. So I guess the vulnerability aspect of that sensitive data that person has, we want to be able to just not have that vulnerability whatsoever, especially with these younger generations that are playing video games. And so the way that we're doing that is by in our video game, in our platform, both in Bushi and OneNet, is that we'll never store, access, or see any sensitive information from anyone that uses a wallet. So no passwords. We won't even store public addresses, things like that. All you do is create you create a unique ID on our servers. That's the only thing. We have to track something, right? So it'll be a unique ID, but that unique ID won't have anything from your wallet associated to it, really. So that's how we're trying to combat it, so that the only thing that the person really has after their initial account creation with the wallet is the unique ID. And so we don't ever store anything more than that.
So kind of going off of that, are you going to be required to have a wallet in order to play Bushi?
So there's kind of a nuance to it. So there's a threshold where we run into a problem. So we want to obviously target the traditional market as well. And because people don't want to do anything with crypto just yet, sometimes we will have another form. We're still working it out to be as secure as possible, but there will be an email account creation for those who really don't want anything to do with crypto in general, just because we want people to play it from the traditional market and then get exposed lightly to blockchain and how safe and great it is, blah, blah, blah. But we're still figuring that route out, because even for us, it's still a little bit uncomfortable to like collect emails.
Yeah.
So that one's like in the air for right now, but we're trying to find a way to include traditional market without having to make them create a wallet if they don't want to. So
Well, I
something.
think that's something that's really cool if you can get a traditional gamer to come in, he plays the game for a little bit, and then he goes, "Oh, I got this NFT, but I have
Yeah,
to, in order to get it, I have to make a wallet then." So then he has some reason to
yeah,
actually go in and make a wallet, and then they
Yeah.
go, "Oh, you kind of can learn more about it," but it's a good kind of gateway drug almost.
yeah. Definitely there's a fine line and a fine balance that we have to find with catering to Web3 people and catering to Web2 people. We don't want to just focus on Web3 people, even though that's like, where we're moving towards. Just because if you leave everybody behind, then the support is not going to be there, right? And then there's always going to be that clash of, no, traditional Web2 is better than new crypto Web3 NFT,
Yeah.
blah 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 blah. We don't want that fight to happen because we want all to just play video games, have fun together. So there's a fine line, a fine balance. I think there are some options and some strategies to go about including both people or both markets, but right now it's still a work in progress. We have the Web3 down pretty easily, but then educating, bringing awareness, making people feel safe from the Web2 to come to Web3, which is like unknown territory to them. Definitely a challenge, but
Yeah.
we'll work through it.
Yeah. So I
I'm
guess
at least glad that you recognize that it is a challenge and not just saying, "Oh, people are just going to come play our game," because there's always going to be that hurdle of, "Oh, it's a crypto game. Like,
Yeah.
why should I play it? Why not just play all these 500 other games I have that are free?" Or,
Yeah.
there's a lot of
I'll tell you right
competition.
now. I'll tell you right now, and not to like divert from the conversation, but like hiring people for Web3 is tough from the traditional market. Like people who worked at Blizzard or EA, these like AAA title artists or developers, it's hard to hire them because they don't know about blockchain or Web3 at all, or they hear things about like, oh, Bitcoin destroys the planet, and we're like, oh, Bitcoin's proof of work, proof
Yeah.
of stake, and they're like, what the hell is proof of stake? And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, so here we go, right? So
Yeah.
it goes down that whole rabbit hole, and
Mhm.
so like making sure that people are educated about it is always a hurdle. Like that is a huge hurdle, and that's what we've been battling with in Web3 for like years, ever since 2008
Well,
or
yeah.
2008 Bitcoin, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty sure. Okay.
Yeah. But like even beyond that, it's like we haven't really put our best foot forward in Web3 because most of these games are just promises or a very low level game, like game mechanism. Like there's not a lot going on, very
Yeah.
simple game loops. We've talked about this before, Greg, where a lot of what you've seen is like almost like taking us back to the days when you were first getting like these web games on your browser, and they're very simple and you can do like Snake and stuff like that. But now we're starting to see more real projects like Bushi, which are built on Unreal Engine and function like a game you'd play on a console or your desktop. But certain things are being done through the blockchain. And I think that's another piece that I think would be helpful to explain is not everything's going on the blockchain, right? Like I don't think it'd be efficient to run an entire game on secret network.
Yeah.
I mean, blocks take time, so you'd have to wait for each block to set so you could find out what happened, right? So how do you get around that, and can you kind of explain how that works?
Yeah. So there are, like you said, there are certain things that need to live off of the blockchain, right? And that's it. It's kind of like counterintuitive because then at that point it's like a central server. So there is a central server for Bushi. We can't really get around it as of right now with the current technology. With these like small, I don't like saying smaller video games. With these other video games that take less of computational power, like for example these like browser video games,
Smaller in weight in terms of
yeah,
computation.
Yep.
there you go. All that stuff like trading card games on the browser, maybe like TFT or like Teamfight Tactics for anybody who doesn't know, which is more of like a tabletop strategy video games. Those can maybe live on the blockchain because it doesn't take so much computational power.
Mhm.
But if you get a game like PlayBushi or like Bushi, where it's from Unreal Engine and almost every move, everything you do would need to be like cemented into a block,
Mm-hmm.
it becomes so difficult for the network to handle it. And right now for me, I don't see or I don't know of any other network that could handle the amount of computational power that Bushi is gonna require. And so because of that, we need to have a central server where most of the in-game like things that happen, like for example, like um, moving forward, moving backward, dashing, stuff like that, all that is processed in the central server. And the things that live on the blockchain are like the sensitive information stuff, like um, or not sensitive information stuff, the sensitive stuff like NFTs or accounts, things that like you don't want someone to have control over and just take away from you. That stuff lives on the blockchain, in your wallet, what have you. But for the things that, yeah, like I said, for the things that really take computational power, like just like a slight move forward or a slight move backward, or how fast your projectile went, how fast it moved like 0.01 seconds after you shot it. All that stuff is going to be on a central server. So yeah, that's how we're about to go around it until we can find something that can host an Unreal Engine game fully on the blockchain. I don't know of any other ways to go around it unless you guys know.
No,
So,
I mean, I don't think there is, because to your
Yeah.
point, like especially for a game that's going to be P2P where you can actually go against other players, you would have to have such extremely like short block times that it's
yeah,
essentially similar to like your ping or whatever, so that so that you can see their movement and they can see your movement, and when you
yeah,
shoot and it lands, it knows where they're going to be. For most blockchains, especially in like the Cosmos, it can be anywhere from a couple seconds to
mhm,
7-second block times, and
yeah,
that is just too long of a lag when you're playing a quick game. So
yeah,
from the user experience standpoint, you want the private like servers for certain things, but then
yeah,
certain other things that you want to be private. For example, you don't want to have, let's say you're playing against someone, you don't want you don't want them to know all your skills and
yeah,
all the stuff you have in your inventory. So therefore, there needs to be some sort of privacy, and I think that's where Secret in the blockchain allow you to do these on Web3 games, because you have certain stuff that is private that other
yeah,
players can't see. Therefore, they can't get an advantage. But there's other things like the map and where everyone is, where you kind of need to know, every player needs to know at the same time, so that the
yeah.
game can function.
Yeah. I could even say, for example, like you were talking about like this like the up to like 7-second block times. So like things that are kind of important to have off of our central servers are like something like your level per se, right? So like a level for an NFT, right? So in PlayBushi, what you would do with an NFT is that you would play the game, do some like accomplish some missions, like maybe like get 5 kills or something like that, right? And that in itself would be able to unlock something that could be burned or put into the NFT, something like a metadata change or something that would be input into the metadata, right? Um, Stuff like that, where like you spent your time to accomplish that, you don't want that to live in our central server, right? Because then we could be like, no, you didn't, let me take that away from you.
Yeah.
So that's not what we want to do. So the stuff like that would be on the chain or on the NFT side of stuff, so that it's cemented on the chain. No one can tell you that you didn't get it, because no one can take it away from you.
Right.
So stuff like that is what would be on the chain versus what would be in a central server.
So, for example, if you shut down your servers, you guys decided, down the road, hey, we're no longer going to support this game, we're ending
Mhm,
it. You would still have everything you earned in your
mhm.
character. All those NFTs would still be in your wallet, so you could still potentially view those, or you could
Yeah,
even potentially bring them into a new game that you create yourself, or
yeah.
what have you.
And then that's a good point to make up too, because another thing that a person would say if we were to take down the game is that, what value would it have? Well, it's a good thing that OneNet, or we're building OneNet, because all these NFTs, including the NFTs in Bushi, will have cross functionality with other games on OneNet. On top of, maybe you can even like take it and burn it for coin or something. That's not, I don't want to like fully cement that, but
Right.
that's something that could happen in the future where, that NFT is done. What do you do with it? Oh, you could just burn it for a different thing in another game, or trade it for a different thing in another game. So even if we were wanting to like strip a game off of our central servers and no longer support it, we're designing it in a way where it will still have value because there are cross functionality things you could do with other games in the future.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I do think that's it's one of those funny points that like traditional gamers like to bring up, where they're like, "Oh, why have an NFT if it's just going to get shut down?" It's like, but look at your current stuff. Like if I go like my Call of Duty account or whatever that I haven't played in a couple of years, it's like level 150 or whatever, but I can't do anything with it. I can't use it in any other games anyway, so it's no different than normal. And if you can at least give people the option to hold on to that stuff after something shut down, I'm all for that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I guess I don't want to segue too far into this because I don't know if we're talking about this yet, but like for example, for cross functionality, right, is our Genesis NFT collection that's coming out on August. So one of the big utility functions of that is the fact that you'll have alpha access to Bushi, right? And then imagine we take Bushi off of the chain, or take Bushi off of the servers and no longer support it. Well, the other utility that happens with it is that you actually have lifetime access to all alpha games on OneNet platform. So that way, like if Bushi ever does go down, which I don't think it will, then at the very least, there's other functionality for that NFT where you can play other games, have like exclusive alpha access to all these other games that are launching. And that's a promise that, okay, well, now I say promise, but that's a promise that we intend to keep for all future games that we launch on OneNet.
Yeah, that's cool. And I can see a place where you kind of earn enough alpha testing, or there's a way you could track, how many games they've tested, or if they've provided feedback, and almost start to reward the players who are helping you with the testing of these alpha, or even if it's just another NFT, maybe it's access to a free game, something like that, where I can incentivize the users.
Yeah. And then we also have these other plans of like I said before, with an NFT, like if a game does end up going down, there'll be a way to still utilize that NFT somewhere else. So cross functionality for every NFT is always in mind. Even if it's a skin, like even if it's like a bow in Bushi, right? And then you go over to a different game, like a StarCraft or something, right? Like where are you going to use a bow?
Right.
We'll always be designing with that in mind. Maybe not every NFT will have cross functionality stuff, but a majority of them we're always going to keep in mind to be like, how does somebody get value after they're done with the game, pretty much.
Well, then are you guys looking to build your own NFT marketplace on top of that too?
So that is something that, like, for example, Steam offers a Steam marketplace, right? It kind of just goes hand in hand. We are planning to do a marketplace of some sort. For example, like for the NFT marketplace, or for the Steam marketplace that happens on its desktop platform, which, by the way, the OneNet platform is a desktop application that that users will be downloading. There will be a marketplace, but as of right now, with the current like support that we have for our wallets, it'll just take you to a website NFT marketplace, and that is most likely where you're going to do all your trading, see stuff for other games, see like asset stuff that you have in your wallet, but you can still view a good majority of it, or view a good majority of the of video games to be distributed on the desktop platform. So to answer the question, yes, we will most likely have a NFT marketplace.
I was muted there for a second, but yeah, I was just gonna say it's something that does make sense. If you're gonna be earning NFTs, there'll be inherently people who will like other items or want to trade, or get a very specific item that they're not able to earn or find. And so I think it's a cool opportunity to, like we were talking about earlier, be able to monetize all that time and effort and hard work you put in, especially if it's more of like an aesthetic attribute where, hey, I just really want this rare helmet that you're wearing. I really like it. I'm willing to pay for that. I know it does nothing for me, but I want it. That is something I can get on board with.
Yeah, and then a cool little alpha I'll drop here is that down the pipeline. So we have a bunch of other prototypes, but another prototype that we're kind of heavily looking into is kind of like a you can kind of think of it like I don't want to say too much, but it's like a top-down MOBA-ish game, right? So for example, and that's again later down the pipeline when we fully are satisfied with like where Bushi is going. But for example, like if a person wants something, if they're done with Bushi and then they want to get something from the like MOBA look video game that comes out in the future, quote unquote, hypothetically, yeah. Then they could just go to the NFT marketplace and go maybe not contact that person directly, but if it's up for sale, then maybe they can just do some kind of like transaction in the marketplace itself and be like, okay, well, I'm done with this game. You can have this game, and I'll take the game that you have, and I'll play that game.
Kind of like a video game exchange, like one
kind of like an exchange.
I really like that.
So it's cool. Yeah, it's going to be a very a community run thing. So hopefully, if the community wants more like exposure to other video games that they want to see on the platform and stuff like that, they can just trade, do whatever they please to get the assets that they want to get.
So now if a game company wanted to go and launch on OneNet, what would they have to do exactly?
So right now, just in the very beginning, earlier portions of OneNet, it's going to be the OneNet team that kind of like dictates, as of right now, like what games go up.
Yeah.
Just for right now, we do kind of see OneNet being kind of like Steam in the sense that people can just like offer up their game for review, vet it obviously, because you don't want like games certain you don't want on the platform. Certain bad stuff out there on the platform. It'll be vetted, and then for example, like maybe the DAO can vote whether or not like it gets put on the Steam and distributed through OneNet, or in the earlier stages, like we said, or like I said, it'll probably be vetted through the team, and then we can contact that game development studio and be like, okay, we want your game up on the platform. Let's talk it out. Let's see what we can do and stuff like that.
I guess what kind of things would you offer a game studio like to help them as that, like instead of them just, for instance, just launching their own on Secret Network?
Yeah, so we actually have, and then more alpha. I don't care. I'll just drop all the alpha. If I get in trouble by the team, I get in trouble by the team. But so
that's all the alpha.
Yeah. So we're coming out with a coin in early next year, probably Q1 of next year, and with the tokenomics involved, we have things like grants that will be available for these game development studios to really launch their game, especially if they like have a really good concept in mind but just don't have the funds for it. So something like that is something that we're going to offer. We're also going to offer like mentoring and advice, obviously, from like our own professional team to maybe an up and coming team, or maybe just advice for a team that doesn't understand how to incorporate blockchain into their video game. So things like that will be available. Let's see. The DAO.
Cool if you get like some of these traditional gaming companies or smaller indie companies, they want to come in and build a game, and they go, "Hey, can you help us with the Web3 part of it? We'll build the game part of it." Like then they don't have to worry about trying to hire Web3 people and that stuff. It's something that can kind of work together. Yeah.
A big goal for our team is like we want to change the narrative from like traditional versus Web3. So we're obviously going to have like that mentoring available for people who are like curious and like educate people. But one of the biggest things that we want to do is like help the teams that were like us maybe not have to like eat ramen noodles while they're building a video game. You know what I mean? So that's where the grant stuff comes from. Maybe they can like, still eat like Vienna sausage rather than like ramen noodles to build the game before actually marketing it, and kind of change that like that standard of like marketing your promise before the product. That's kind of what we want to like accelerate. So maybe like I don't want to say a launch pad or something like that for game developers, but that's one way we're going to incentivize game developers to come to OneNet.
No, that's really cool. I like to hear that.
Well, I'm trying to think. I think we're coming up on about 45 to 50 minutes here. So I think we've covered a lot of Bushi and OneNet. Is there any kind of final thoughts you have, or anything you want to ask of either the secret community, the Cosmos community, anything like that to help you guys either with testing, feedback, any message you just want to get out?
Yeah, there's a lot. But I think for me, one of the biggest, and you can call me too cocky or something like that, but I'll eat my words when I need to eat my words. But I absolutely think that PlayBushi is going to be one of the biggest video games in terms of scale and just scope of project in the Cosmos in general. So built in Unreal Engine, built for 2 years, has AAA like experience behind it. This is me shilling. I don't care anymore. I'm gonna go.
Chill away.
This is your stage.
Yeah, I'm just gonna grab a mic and start yelling. But the product is there. It's ready to be released coming up this month. So just check it out. For the secret community, you guys are gonna probably see it before everybody else. But the secret community has already been so helpful, supportive. Specifically like the Secret Foundation and Secret Labs, they've been like such a huge help in terms of like supporting us and being able to like market it and stuff like that. So if you see Bushi, just go follow it, because once you see the gameplay, it's gonna blow your mind, in my opinion.
And we'll have to release some trailers or something. I know you've had a few that were public already. So for
a little bit, we tried to linearly release it, but at a certain point, this was like decided like maybe a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago or something like that. We were like, forget it, man. Let's just show it. Let's like lay it out on the table, show people what the in-game looks like right now, and have people decide for themselves. So I'm gonna show as much as possible, but once you see it for yourself, I want to hear everything that you want to say about it, because if I'm wrong that it's not one of the biggest games in the Cosmos, then I'll eat my hat at the very least.
We'll hold you to that.
Hold me to that.
Right here on the Crypto Chemistry Pod, he'll eat it. But seriously, I think what you guys are doing is great. I've seen some of the trailers you guys put online, and it looks amazing. I can't wait to test it out myself. Me, Greg, a couple other members of our team are all huge gamers. We grew up playing games together, and we've been kind of following the NFT gaming scene for a while, hoping for a actual, high level AAA style game to come out. We think Bushi is going to be that for the Cosmos, if not just the greater kind of Web3. So super excited to have you on and get to hear what you guys are building. And then to everyone listening, at the bottom, I'm going to turn on a little scroll bar that'll show you who you can go follow on Twitter to get more information on Bushi and what they're doing there. Also, you can go to @LaunchOneNet if you want to see what's going on in the greater gaming space that they're building. And then, of course, @_1Leon for our guy Leon right here, who is one of the co-founders and building what we think is going to be a great game. So thanks for joining us today on the Crypto Chemistry Podcast, and we can't wait to have you on again to maybe dive into the next game or just talk more about OneNet and what you guys are doing.
Cool. Thank you. I appreciate it again, guys. Super fun.
Sounds good. And we look forward to the Genesis, man.
Yeah.